thank you very much for the invitation to this conference. And so my preparation for my lecture was really more on the general aspects of globalization of Ayurveda, but maybe as an introduction to our session it will be nice. So I think if we look at the discussion during this first session in the morning, we had the quality aspects of products, we had the quality aspects of research, but in fact the center of it, the quality management, was not so clearly coming out. And also if we talk about education in Ayurveda, I think it's very important that we look at this aspect of quality management. You see, if we go to the roots of Ayurveda, I would say Ayurveda came into existence in the same time when scientific thinking came into existence. So it's not the question that we have this Western science and we have this Ayurvedic tradition and these are totally different things. But we have to combine them in an intelligent manner and bringing a new integration into it. So if we look into Ayurveda, all of you know, it's a traditional holistic medical system with so many branches already in the beginnings. But when Ayurveda came to the West, we had a limited perception of Ayurveda. And this also is relevant in the public, in the West, but through education, we are able to bring the traditional system of Ayurveda also to the West. This is our task now. We have this field of different viewpoints concerning alternative medicine, Western medicine, natural medicine, and so on. And in this context, we have also a narrow perspective on Ayurveda. In the West, nobody knows that surgery is a part of Ayurveda. Ayurveda was not designed as an alternative system of medicine, but as a system coping up all the themes which are important in a system of medicine. So we can see Westerners, if they look on Ayurveda, they expect too much. They seek for salvation by one single teaching. It's always the fact that people want simple answers. But if we look at the modalities of all the influences in one disease, in one patient, as we heard in the last lecture, we see Ayurveda doesn't give simple answers. It is a complex system and we have to cope with it. So also we have a reduction of Ayurveda in the West, and through education of Ayurvedic practitioners, of physicians in Ayurveda, we can bring the whole Ayurveda into the Western culture. So the solution is qualified training in the medical aspects of Ayurveda, research about the fundamental principles and systematic concepts of Ayurveda, and we have to ask how it is possible to teach it in the West, because there we don't have the Sanskrit culture. For a medical doctor who had already 5 years of training and then he wants to learn Ayurveda, it's very difficult to go into Sanskrit. So what we need is really better translations, more complex translations, that we can bring it to the world. So we need Sanskrit scholars for it, we need Ayurvedic Vaidyas for it, we need experts in modern medicine and also European traditional medicine and cultural history. If all of these people work together, then we will have good translations. Up to now, we have these problems that we can, the students are asking, which book can I use? So it's always difficult to say which is really a reliable work of translation. So if Ayurveda comes to the West, or to other countries in general, we have to ask which parts of Ayurveda belong to the Indian culture and which parts are really the medical essence of the system. So you see, in India many things are quite normal, they come together, but if it comes to another country, we have to ask which aspects really are medical and which are not. We have to ask many questions in this field. Also, concerning the adaptations to other cultures and climatic conditions. So why should Europeans eat basmati rice, we can ask. So are there other things with similar gunas and so on? So nutrition, lifestyle, culture, herbs, spices, remedies. There are many open questions in practicing Ayurveda in other countries. We have to accept that Ayurveda will change during time when it is practiced in Germany or in US or in South America or in Australia. So, and we have to ask which classical features of Ayurveda are still reliable and which have to be questioned. The Indian culture is flexible and conservative at the same time. And you see, always if I look into the old textbooks, I'm really astonished how deep the knowledge was. But nevertheless, we have to see that modern science has brought about a vast knowledge of metabolic processes and detailed understanding of diseases which were not known in the olden times. So we have to ask these questions. And in Nyaya philosophy, maybe you know, the starting process of coming to a siddhanta, to a conclusion, is samshaya. We need to doubt the things. So, in fact, I would say that history shows that Ayurveda is a flexible system, because we had already in the olden times, in the beginnings, different viewpoints on different subjects. And they were discussed during the process of formulating the text of Charaka, Sushruta and so on. So Shastra for me, as a Western scientist, is not dogmatism, but it is a guidance in the search of truth and in asking more and new questions. So can we teach Ayurveda fully to Westerners? We have to ask. And I always like to quote this passage of Charaka Samhita. So the question was, why is Ayurveda everlasting? And it is not said because of the rishis, they were so wise and we have to follow the tradition strictly or so on. No, it is a very scientific answer which is given. Fire is always hot, water is always liquid. When you eat heavy substances, heaviness will increase. With light substances, lightness will increase. So, the everlasting aspect of Ayurveda is the nature itself. It is looking closely at how the physiology is functioning, how the human being is going through its life. So, therefore, the conclusion is, never had the stream of life not been existed. So, with this statement, we can be sure that Ayurveda can go to other cultures, because we have to look closely at the people living there, at the nature being existent there, and then we can come to conclusions how to practice Ayurveda in other countries. Therefore, the process of integrating Ayurveda into the modern Western healthcare system will change Ayurveda. And we have to accept this. And we have to accept that plurality in Ayurveda is the strength of Ayurveda. It's not a fault of Ayurveda if you have different opinions in one system. Therefore, I think we have also to develop a vision what a European type of Ayurveda could be, what an American type of Ayurveda could be, and to develop it in a very fundamental way. So, and further developments will also be developments of integrated therapy concepts, which combine aspects of Ayurveda and modern medicine. And this will also change Ayurveda in its essence. So, if we come to the education field, we have to see that at the moment we have different experiences. We have an extra-occupational Master of Science program, where Western-trained physicians and experienced practitioners of natural medicine learn Ayurveda. In India, mostly there are young students coming without medical background. They have this 5-year full-time study in Ayurveda, and so we have to cope our strategies to these different situations. At the moment, we see that the development during these last 20 years brought about really many experts up to now, but nevertheless, comparing to the whole system of medicine in Europe, Ayurveda is a little plant. We have to say this. We are in the beginning process of this. And if we see the approximated numbers of medical doctors who were trained in Ayurveda, we have to say maybe about 500, or in entire Europe maybe 800 or 1,000, and therapists and coaches maybe 5,000 to 8,000. These are approximated numbers. Between Ayurveda and Western medicine, we have many conceptual conformities. It is very important that we look in an integrated way to both of these systems. So I go a little bit quickly because these are fundamental aspects of this, and we have also differences which were already talked about during the last presentations. I think we can say at the moment, with now 4 years experience with our master's program, that it is possible to teach Ayurveda in the West in a very qualified way. We have this situation that people develop a lot of knowledge and understanding during these studies, and they learn important skills to practice Ayurveda and combine it with their Western type of medicine, which they practice in their places. And now we can say at least 6 students now successfully finished their master's dissertation. So it's just a few weeks ago we had the session, and we can say this program has really started successfully, and there is a high motivation in the students to study Ayurveda in depth and to gain practical experience and safety. So with this I would like to close my presentation, to be short, and I want to remember also to the traditional systems of medicine in Europe with the quotation of Paracelsus: the patient is the doctor is assistant. Thank you very much.